Legends, welcome to the local marketing secrets podcast. Couldn't even speak properly then. And I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend. It's Monday here for me, or whenever you're listening to this. First of all, I just want to quickly remind you guys that I don't run any ads. I don't do anything like that because, look, this is just a small podcast that's here to deliver value. And the only small fee that I ask in return is that you share this with a friend. If you get value from this, share it with a friend. Screenshot it. If you're on the podcast, screenshot it and tag me on Instagram at @TheJimmyHalley. And if you're on Facebook Live here, please just share it or comment below or tag a friend that somebody needs to hear this. And that's my only fee. Now with that, we've got that. Moving on, I'm Jimmy. I'll be your host. I'm your host every day with this. And this is for local businesses, how you can utilize social media. You can utilize other forms of marketing, but social media is so powerful. And a lot of people love to post the highlight reel. And to go on two levels, there's two layers to this. Number one is about me and what my intention is with what I'm doing here is this is me marketing my business at the same time by showing you the real story of me and how I got here, and then provide value to you guys. So then that somewhere down the line, if I have something that you might find of offer that you would want to be able to do some work with me or purchase from me down the track. And that's called building goodwill, providing value in the marketplace. And you also need to do that by telling stories. So this is, like, if you're just out there saying, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit, or you're just being very educational at the same time, like, yes, we need to educate people, but you need to do it through telling stories. And there's no greater story than your own story, what you've lived through. You can see here, I've been real and raw about the really bad stuff. And I've got plenty more to come. There's a few areas I haven't delved into yet because I'm just just don't know how comfortable I feel about sharing it. But you guys will get it, but it's going to be a bit tough to talk about. But for today, though, it's about telling stories, and stories sell. Because think about it, like nobody buys a pair of Nikes because they like the quality, the upper leather, the sole, the shoelace, what it's made out of. They like the whole brand, the idea of that Nikes, that you can do it. Like they've got this whole ethos, like if you've got a body, you're an athlete. Susan Butler is on here again. I'd love to see you every day, Susan. That's great. So Nike has this thing where they're like, if you have a body, then you're an athlete. And, you can do it. You can do anything that you put your mind to. And that's what people are sort of like, it's a cool brand. They've got this cool like awareness about it. So people buy, whether they know it or not. They're not buying just purely because it's a good made shoe. People don't sit there and go, look at the stitching on it. Can you believe that it's made out of this sort of sole and this sort of, no, they don't do that. They do that because it's cool and it's got this whole brand and this story built out around it. So it's kind of like they're kind of like for the underdogs, right? And stories itself. So now to go a little bit deeper into this, like you might be sitting there thinking like, what do I put in my stories and how do I do it? And look, I'm not the ultimate storyteller, but I think I've got a few good ones. But to help you guys out a little bit here, there's this great book. Actually, what is it called? I'll pull it up for you right now. It is a great book from Seth Godin called All Marketers Are Liars. That's actually a great book. Sparky is on. What is up, guys? If you're on, give us a thumbs up. And if there was a great quote in that, and I'm going to read it out word for word here. So this was a perfect little quote that applies to this. So, the best stories agree with our worldview. So the best stories don't teach people anything new. So people don't want to be taught anything new. So instead, the best stories agree with what the audience already believes. Wow, that is powerful. So already what we believe. So do you know why though? This was the thing. I was kind of like, when I heard that today, I was just like, that is why being real and raw and not showing all the highlight reel and everything, showing just you. So then people go, oh, that guy's just like me. And it goes to show that like, okay, I believe that I'm already like this and this guy is just like me. Well, shit, maybe I can do that too. And there's a connection. Instead of like what social media is right now, it's kind of like this I'm in my kingdom up here in my ivory tower. I am nothing like you. I am better than you. So you should follow me and you should see, watch everything that I do. Where the whole paradigm needs to be flipped, where it needs to be like, I'm exactly the same as you. I'm just like I am you. I've lived through some shit. I've done some shit, but I've also got through that shit and I've kind of, had some sort of success in some certain area, whether it's whatever industry you're in health and fitness, in beauty, in finances or whatever, okay? So that's what there comes into. Because listen to this. The reason why the best stories agree with what the audience already believes is this makes the member of the audience already feel smart and secure and reminded about how right they were in the first place. So think about that. Think about that. Like, you're just reaffirming what people already believe. You don't need to try and change their mind. You need to come and meet them with the beliefs that they already have and just say, hey, pretty much you were right all along, but here's a story to sort of like reaffirm that fact. And people are just like, oh shit, because people like people that are like them. Like, look at your circle of friends. I bet most of them have similar traits and similar interests to you, or you've done a lot of stuff together, and so you've built this friendship together. So that's why people like that sort of stuff. And think about this: when you've watched some news or you've watched something and you've said a story, and then you're just like, I knew it, I knew that was going to happen, because it's reaffirming, and that story sticks with you because it's making you believe, reaffirming the fact that you're right. Because everyone loves to be right. No one wants to be told that they're wrong, unless it's going to kill them. Do you know what I mean? So that's some stuff to think about with your stories. So when you're telling your stories, be real. Don't be bullshit. People's BS detectors are through the roof. Okay? People's BS detectors are through the roof. So when you're in sales, don't lie to them. If you're selling a car, you're like, hey, this car is good. It's used. It's actually got this dodgy bit right here. Just be open and honest with you. However, to repair that, it's going to be like this much money or whatever. And just be honest. People love honesty. People love honesty because people hate any surprises. So if you can be upfront, honest with them, be real, be raw, tell your story. Because your story, nobody else, no other person in the world has your exact same story. And that's going to help grow your business. Now, how do we apply this? How do we apply this in a marketing principle? Because I've seen this happen for guys that install windows. There's a window installation business, used car guys, fitness guys, business guys, retail, hospitality. Sparky, 100%, yo, exactly. So, and Sparky, it was great. So let's use him as an example. He's got his own electrician business, right? So he's got a bunch of guys that work for him. It's kind of like a bunch of contractors. And so the story that he could tell is like how he started out. This is me. This was my journey of how I came about, getting to where I am, and talk about all the hard shit. What was the stuff you wanted to get to this goal? Don't just talk about the goal. Talk about all the stuff that happened to get there. And you can just do it on a video like what I'm doing here. And then you can produce that. Like, you don't have to do it every day. Like I'm doing one every day. If you don't have the time for it, do one a week, or you can do it in a written format if you feel like you're better in the written word. But you don't have to be all about, here's my product, here's how much it is. Here's my product, here's how much it is. Like, that's boring. Everybody does that. And these days, people want to do business with another person, not a company. So if you can really understand that, and how do you apply this you can apply this to any business. Apply this to any business. Honestly, people will connect with you and they'll understand you. And this is helping build an audience, helping mine a database, right, of people that are potentially going to buy, but not right now. But you need to do that because so much of the market is focusing on the 5% of people that are ready to buy right now, where the other 95% of people that are potentially want to buy in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, but no one's talking to them. And this is how you talk to them. So when they are ready, they're like, hey, I know that electrician guy, Sparky, he's been telling me about his story. He's been showing me some of his results. He's been showing me some of the hurdles to overcome. And he's actually already overcome them. You know what? I'm going to call that guy first. And that is how you use stories to sell, okay? Because stories help sell you. your person. You know, doesn't matter how big the company is. There's always one, what you call like the attractive personality within any business. And so people can relate at least one face, one name to even how, it doesn't matter how big the business is. So think about that, guys. That's a little bit more of a tactical one with a bit of psychology built into there. So do whatever you can within your messaging to help prove that the audience is right and what they believed was already right. And your stories are going to like really fly. Anyways, this has hit the 10-minute mark. I am going to wrap this up right here. This is great. Thanks. No worries, Susan. And once again, so this is me being a great business person. You always have to make an offer. Okay. So my offer today is like what I said at the start of the podcast. If you're listening on the podcast, screenshot it with your phone, tag me on Instagram at @TheJimmyHalley. Put it in your stories. If you don't want to put it on your page, that'd be awesome. I'd love that. Just to share this with somebody else that needs to get the value from this. And if you're on Facebook here and you got value from this, can you please share it or tag a friend or family member that feels like that they need to hear this to help grow their business, and do it the ethical way, the right way, and do it the smart way where you're actually going to build relationships with people and have a long-standing business. Anyways, this is Jimmy. Love you all. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon.